Listen, my name is Lady Shanelle, and I am the founder of this platform that you're watching here on social media, both YouTube and Facebook. And just so you know, I am a motivational speaker and trainer for people going through divorce, co-parents, those that are dealing with high conflict situations. I am your girl, okay? Because I love a challenge. If you haven't noticed that already about me, I love a challenge and I love to teach people how to overcome and thrive through challenges. And so I'm here to talk about um, how communication is so important and the proper way to communicate in a high conflict relationship, okay? So this is for you co-parents, even those of you going through a divorce. If it is a high conflict relationship, situationship, whatever you want to call it, then you definitely need to stay tuned to this video because I'm going to share with you the BIRF method. We've talked about this before in our last conversation about the BIRF method. Okay, so many of you may be familiar if you work with any type of professional therapist, coach, trainer, maybe even your attorney. If they're a great attorney, they may have even shared this with you. A lot of them share with you the BIF method, BIFF, brief, informational, friendly, and factual or firm. However, I talk about the birth method because I don't think you necessarily have to be friendly with the person you're in a high conflict situation with. I do believe that you need to be respectful as well because being respectful shows more about you than it does about them. And so we're going to talk a little bit more about that today, the birth method in communication and why that is so important. Now, you know, these videos are short, okay? So I'm going to need y'all to stick with it or watch the replay over and over again until you got it because I promise you this method is going to help you in a lot of your high conflict situations. And that doesn't necessarily have to stay, have to necessarily only be concerned with family. It could be a high conflict boss. It could be a high conflict coworker. It could be a high conflict situation at church. Trust me, I've been there. Okay. So therefore, how you respond to those situations shows a lot about you. And here I am helping you to be the best version of yourself that you can be, as well as the most respected person in the room. Okay. Somebody type that in the chat. I'm going to be the most respected person in the room, in the relationship, in the situationship, at my job, at my church, whatever the case may be, all because I can control my emotions. Not necessarily control, I can manage my emotions because sometimes emotions happen because people disappoint you. You can't control them disappointing you. What you can do is manage how you respond to that disappointment. And what I'm going to share with you all today is how to set boundaries around your emotions, okay? So having emotions isn't wrong. There's nothing wrong with having emotions. There's nothing wrong with feeling your feelings. However, how it becomes damaging for you, how it can destroy you, is when you give people access to that. Okay, I'm gonna say that again because the folks in the back need to really hear this. What is damaging about your emotions is when you give people or the wrong people access to that. How do you give them access to that? Well, when you're frivolous with sharing them with people, then you've given them access. Now, there's the right people to give access to your emotions and there are wrong people to give access to your emotions. Okay, so people who have proven to not really care about you, people who have proven to not really respect your emotions, people who or respect emotions period. There's people who will hurt your feelings and don't care. Okay, people that and it's one thing to tell somebody the truth, but how do you tell it, right? Now, you can tell somebody the truth and say it in a way to intentionally hurt their feelings. Or you can tell somebody the truth and stick to the truth, but also be sensitive and empathetic to their feelings. Okay. I do it all the time because one of the things I will not do is sugarcoat. Okay. If anybody know me, you know that I can be diplomatic, but I will not sugarcoat. The truth is the truth, and it is the truth that will set you free. Can I get an amen? Okay. So, people who have proven to you that they don't respect emotions, that they don't respect boundaries, that they don't respect how how this affects you in so many other ways are pretty much the wrong people to share your emotions with. So you're like, well, I don't share my emotions with people. Well, you share your emotions in how you show up, how you respond, okay? And oftentimes, the reaction that you give shares your emotion. I'm gonna say that again because I want that to sink in. Your reaction, especially an immediate reaction, shares and invites people into a space who may not need to have access to that space. These people may not need to know that that they disappointed you. These people may not need to know that they triggered you. These people may not need to know that it hit a sensitive spot that bothered you since you were 10 years old, okay, that you still are working on getting healed from, right? They may not need to know that. Why do they not need to know that? Well, they don't need to know that because if they know that is a trigger for you, and if they don't care about you, they are going to, guess what? Keep hitting that button. They're going to keep hitting that button and make you believe that you're the crazy one. How many of y'all been there where they know what buttons to push and then turn around and tell everybody you're the crazy one? So so why are we giving them ammunition? We're giving them ammunition when we react instead of walking away. We give them ammunition when we give them paragraph after paragraph after paragraph that goes completely against the birth method, which is brief, informative, respectful, and firm. Okay, so all of these paragraphs that y'all are sending out to your exes and your baby daddies and your baby mamas are unnecessary because it goes against the birth method, which goes against protecting what is very sensitive to you, which is your vulnerability, and which involves your emotions. So take the emotions out of it. One of the things I share with people sometimes is accountability, because sometimes we need to run that text by somebody else who has our best interests at heart, who a lot of times can be unbiased, because I promise you, sometimes your best girlfriend, she got your best interest at heart, but she is biased and she wants you to go all off. She wants you to have all of those paragraphs in there because, girl, she's like, let him have it, right? But you need to run that paragraph by your coach. I have a lot of my clients who run paragraphs by me, and they eventually learn how to stop sending paragraphs, because they will run that by me, and I'm like, there's too many emotions. Why he need to know all that? Why she need to know all that about you? We're working on those things. We're working on those things in private. We're working on those things confidential, and you're blabbing it out to the person who cares the least about you, right? So let's take all of that stuff out of that text. Let's take all of that stuff out of that response. Let's take all of these reactions out of the equation so that this person don't even know how you move it. This person has no idea what your triggers are. This person has no idea what will set you off, because you're sticking to the birth method, which again is brief, informative, respectful, and firm. Be firm about your life. Be firm about what bothers you. Be firm about what concerns you, because I promise you, you're the only one who cares that much about it. And that is just the truth of the matter. You're the only one that cares that much about your feelings. You're the only one that cares that much about how what happened to you when you was 3, what happened to you when you was 10, what happened to you when you was 15, and that is your responsibility to work through. When you give other people permission to have their opinions about it, to have their say about how you deal with it, all of that stuff, now you have unnecessary trauma and drama that now you got to heal from that. You done added something onto the plate to heal from. So let's commit to ourselves to use the birth method, and the birth method has nothing to do with your emotions. So let's talk about emotions. Why is it important to have a professional in your life, especially when you are becoming the best version of yourself, especially when you are saying, you know what, I come out of a damaging situation, I come out of some drama, I come out of some trauma, which all of us have, right? There's no shade or no shame. However, you don't want to stay. Now, some of y'all may want to stay in drama, okay, because y'all addicted to drama and y'all love it. But most of us, we are past the drama and the trauma, okay? We've outgrown that, right? And we want healthy relationships. Now, healthy relationships, and I tell this to women's group all the time, because they're like, oh my gosh, this next guy that I'm seeing, he is not with the drama. And I kind of feel bored, and I'm like, it was because you were addicted to drama. And girl, Steady Eddie is going to take you all the way to the end of life, okay? And Steady Eddie may not have all that drama in his life. He don't got no baby mama drama. He don't got no work drama. He don't got no, mama drama. Like he has grown up. Okay, he has probably got some professional help for real, and he has like, I'm determined to live a peaceful life. And here you come with your drama and your baggage. And girl, we got to grow up from that, right? And so Steady Eddie, he may seem boring to some people, but Steady Eddie is going to take you all the way to the end of time. And he is going to be the one who you don't have to teach how to treat you, because he's already learned that. Okay. And so shout out to the Steady Eddies. Okay. So Steady Eddie is going to require someone who wants to live a peaceful life as well. And so if you're saying, okay, you know what, I do like drama, but I want to prioritize my peace above the drama. Well, this is why you need an unbiased professional in your life. I know your girlfriend is cool and she could stay your girlfriend. However, your girlfriend or your friend group, your friend girls, whoever they are biased, and they are going to continue to perpetuate this cycle of drama because they love you, they care about you, and they want to know all your feelings because they're sharing all their feelings with you. And so the professional is saying, in an unbiased situation, and trainers telling you how you can still feel your feelings, but then you know when to turn them off, and when it's safe for you to turn them on, and when it's safe for you to invite someone into that space, and when it's safe to turn it off, and when it's not safe to invite people, and the people who aren't safe to even just show up to the party, because they will create more drama and trauma that you have to heal from. And so having a professional in your life to teach you that, to train you on that, is so important. Listen, you getting, whether or not you get a trainer or a professional, a therapist, a psychologist to help you out, is of no consequence to the therapist, the trainer, the coach, or the psychologist. It does us no good if you say you don't want that. Like we don't really, it doesn't matter, because there are people who do want a professional in their life, and they benefit from having a professional in their life. And trust me, people know the difference. People know the difference when you have decided to invest in yourself by having a professional in your life to come in and help you, and don't when you don't have a professional, when you're listening to everybody on TikTok and you're so confused because you don't know who's right and who's wrong and who's indifferent and who still got trauma that they're working through, and their advice is coming from that place, versus when you've gone to a professional for your specific situation and you work through all of the baggage that you need to unpack with that professional. When you go out and date somebody, when you decide to marry somebody, they know the difference between a person who's invested in themselves and the person who's getting off all of their information off TikTok. Because there's so much information on TikTok. And I'm not saying all of the TikTok information is bad. What I am saying is it's very general. Even this video you're watching is very general, right? But your specific situation may need to be dealt with a professional, so that your healing is specific to you. I even do groups, right? I even do training and group training. And then even in group training, there is a lot more specific to the group than a video with thousands and thousands of people watching. However, within the group, somebody may say, I need something more specific to my situation. My ex-husband is doing this specifically, right? And then we need to have a specific conversation about that, right? Because what she's going through with her ex-husband or her children's father or his children's mother has nothing to do with what we're talking about in the group. and it's an isolated situation that he needs healing from, that she may need healing from, that she may need to adjust to, he may need to adjust to specifically, that is not talked about in a group. And so for you who may be watching, you're getting all of this great information, which is wonderful, but also you're leaving some crumbs on the table because you have some unidentified or maybe even identified trauma that you have not dealt with specifically for you. Okay. And so what happens is you bring that, you still continue to bring that into your next relationship. And that person don't know how to really, they don't really know how to manage that. They may be a good person, but they don't really know how to manage that because you don't know how to manage. You don't know you don't know what tools that are necessary for you to heal in that particular area, and now you have unrealistic expectations for that particular person to heal for you, which is not their job to do. It is not their job to be your therapist. It is not their job to be your coach. It is not their job to be your psychologist. It's not even your best friend's job to do that. She just loves it because she loves to hear all your business, but it's not her job to fix your situation. And this is especially for men who look for women who are empathetic, right? And you have mama drama, you have mama issues, and you're looking for that woman to come in and be your mother. That is unrealistic. And women that come in and do that, I pray for you because you really like this guy. And part of you, especially if you're an older sister, if you're the older sister, you definitely got it bad. We got it bad. We wanna fix people. We want to help them. We want to see them be the best version of themselves that they can be. And unfortunately, there are some people who will take all of your goodness and drain you and leave you. And after you've done all this thousands of dollars worth of work, right? They leave you and use that the work that you've done with somebody else. Tell me, let's talk about acrimony, right? They take all of your goodness and apply it to somebody else. Who has ever been through that? Anybody ever been through that? And so now you are hurt. Now you are just, I mean, devastated because you've poured out so much. You've given so much to someone who didn't even have the ability to appreciate and even pour back into you because they came to you empty and dry and dried up, and you done watered them, you done, I mean, you had a whole flower garden and they're blooming, and they've taken all of their flowers to somebody else. Girl, what are you doing, dude? What are you doing? When you recognize that you've got to really plow up this ground in this person who has not done any work on themselves, and you realize, okay, they've come out of a traumatic situation, and they haven't done any work on themselves. You have to do yourself a favor and leave them where you found them. If we all could do that, more people would be determined and be inclined to work on themselves. But no, it's too many of us out there going to go pick them up and clean them up and wash them up and get them all beautified, and then they leave us, and we're like, now we got to start doing work on ourselves all over again because we let somebody drain us who didn't do the work themselves. Too many, I see it too many times, and we ask the question, why? Why does this happen? Well, let's go back to the original conversation. We did not do the birth method. We've invited somebody into a space and place in our life that did not belong there. They were wrong for us. They were the wrong people to share our emotions with. They were the wrong people to share all of what we've learned and what we've gained and what we've gathered. They were the wrong person, and you didn't stick to the birth method, which is brief, informative, respectful, and firm. You let your guard down to somebody who didn't deserve to be let into your emotional space. You let your guard down to someone who didn't value you enough to value the access that you were giving them. And so you gave them access prematurely, and they've taken all of that value, soaked it up, made their soil rich, and they're taking their flowers somewhere else. Oh my God. Y'all, listen, I'm telling you, you've got to take your emotions and put them in a crystal box, that alabaster box that is valuable, and only share them with and unpack them because they're so valuable. Your emotions are so sensitive and valuable, and unpack that with someone who's deserving, someone who's a professional who knows how to handle that. Because let me tell you something. Let me just, while I'm here, and I just, something just dropped in my spirit. Not all professionals deserve it either. Not all professionals. Listen, I over the I've been doing this for several years, and over the years, I have clients who call me probably at least twice a month, who call me, who have been damaged by a professional, who they've because they were a professional, they have given themselves over to that professional because that was it was a professional, but this person and left them even more broken, left that person even more broken than when they came. And so when I'm unpacking things with this particular client, I'm like, how did this happen? Well, because they were vulnerable with this professional, and the professional wasn't professional. Okay, so I do understand why people are like, I don't want to see this person. I don't want to see a. Well, listen, you got to still do your due diligence with your professional, right? You gotta, don't just spill it all out now, and use your discernment. Use your discernment. Holy Spirit will tell you. He will tell you, nah, red flag. He will show you the red flag. And if you're like, well, I don't know anything about the Holy Spirit, I don't know about this Holy Spirit stuff. Well, everybody has a measure of wisdom, a measure of this. Everybody does. Whether you want to believe in God or not, everyone has been created with a measure of discernment. And if you choose to lean into that discernment, wonderful. If you choose not to, that's on you because you got it. And if you don't want to use the gift that God gave you, whether you believe God gave it to you or not, you don't want to use that gift of discernment, you're going to get hurt every single time. You're going to get hurt every single time. Okay. Whether you want to believe that God gave you that gift or not, you still got it. Okay. That's the truth of the matter. And if you don't want to lean into it because you're like, I don't want to lean into it, anything, listen, that you're doing that at your own risk. Okay. And the risk is that you're going to hook up with people and invite people into your life who don't value you, who don't uh who don't have any discernment themselves. Obviously they skipped over that part, and who don't have any empathy for you. And so they're going to take what you've given them, right? They're going to take all the emotions you poured out. They're going to take all everything that you told them, even twist the stuff that you said, and use it against you. I've seen that happen. And use it against you, and use it as a weapon to attack you. So that's why discernment is so important. And it's not that you have to be this super spiritual Bible thumping owl running Christian to use it. Anybody can use discernment. Even 2-year-olds have discernment. Okay, they have discernment. Even dogs got discernment. There's this saying: if a dog don't like you, something wrong with you. It ain't, because dogs are innocent, right? So if the dog is like, they letting you know something ain't right with that person. They are letting you know something ain't right with you. So if a dog has enough discernment, guess what? You you just ain't using it. And sometimes we ignore the flags. We want to think and pretend that we're at a circus when we see all these flags. But God is like, no, this is red for a reason. This is red for a reason. And if you keep going down that road, you're gonna realize how red it is. You're gonna see why it's red. But I'm trying to tell you it's red before you really get hurt. but sometimes we ignore the flags. Been there, done that. No shame, no shade. But here's the problem. If you if you are, it's clear that the flag is red, but you still want to keep going. Like it's almost like you're trying to prove something to somebody that the flag ain't red. Everybody else see the flag is red. Everybody else see that this ain't no good for you, but you're trying to prove to everybody in the entire world that it ain't what everybody knows it is. Girl, get out. Get out. Just get out. It's okay. We're gonna still love you. Just get out. Just get out before you make yourself look like a fool. Okay. How many of y'all have seen people stay in situations way longer than they should just because they're trying to prove to somebody that they didn't choose the wrong person? Chose the wrong person, right? But as soon as I realized I chose the wrong person, hey, thank God for closing that door. Thank God for closing that door. How many doors have God closed for us that was trash? And we didn't want to believe it was trash. But it was trash and God closed that door. We thank God. We listen, sometimes we didn't have enough sense to know we were dealing with trash, that we were eating with trash. But God knew, and God said, I'm gonna close that door for you. Bless your heart. Let me close that door for you because you don't even know what you're doing. And God is trying to close doors for some of y'all. Just let him do it. Let him do it because I promise you, he got so much better for you. Let him close. This was not about, this whole video done turned to, to something else. But it's down inside of me, y'all. It just comes out. But I promise you, God is closing a door for you. Let him close that door because that is no longer the best part for you. It is no longer. Now, it may have given you some good. I'm just going to be honest with y'all. Sometimes maybe the relationship served its purpose. It did what it needed to do. And now it's time to move on. Okay. And thank God you didn't marry the person. Thank God you didn't have children with that person. Thank God it didn't go where it could have went. God went ahead and closed that door before it was too late, and now there's somebody else's problem, right? But what do you do after God closes that door? Well, we got to deal with that trauma because what's going to happen is you're going to take that trauma into the next relationship thinking that's going to fix you, and it's not. It's not meant to fix you. You're meant to fix you. God has given you the ability to fix you with him, right? He has given you the opportunity to fix you instead of you going traumatizing somebody else's life with unhealed, unresolved trauma from the last situation. So God has now drawn you to spaces and places to where you can make the effort, the conscious effort to do something about your trauma and not be drama for anybody else. Okay. So listen, that's it. I'm about to head out, y'all. I just wanted to share with y'all again how you can avoid unnecessary drama, trauma, and conflict. Because if you're in a high conflict situation, I promise you, it takes two to tango. Okay, so let it not be you. You get out of the conflict, so it's only a one flick, not a conflict. Okay, it's a monoflick. Okay, and so it's not two people in conflict. It's only that person that's a troublesome person, and you are no longer contributing to the conflict because you are using the BIRF method. Brief, informative. You're keeping your conversations brief, informative, respectful, and firm. And you're sticking to it. 10 toes down, you're sticking beside the BIRF method. Okay? If you're sticking beside the BIRF method, make some noise in the comment. I'm sticking beside the BIRF method. BIRF. I'm sticking beside the BIRF method so that I can be the best version of myself. Listen, move makers are action takers. And if this video has inspired you to take action in some sort of way, go ahead and leave it down in the comments. I can't wait to see you in the next video.